Renaissance street sweeper. It has been going back and forth the whole time I've been here. It's just like, it's definitely like taunting me now. Just doing it, just knowing that I am filming. And I'm trying to like speak louder so that you can hear me. Bonjour and welcome to the Paris edition of Revelivre. I'm still in the middle of my reading renaissance. And so even though I'm on vacation, I read in the metro, during metro rides, I read in the morning, I read at night. And I'm kind of inspired because of all the bookstores that I've been visiting. And Paris is such a bookish city. There seem to be as many libraries and bookstores as there are boulangeries, patisseries. I've got myself into a little bit of trouble because I bought so many books. And I'm not even a quarter of the way of my trip. And so the last time I was in a bookstore, I said to myself, you're not going to buy anything. You're just here to look. And of course, I ended up buying a couple of books, but they were really thin books. So I don't know if you could tell where I am. There you go, and it is a beautiful day here today. It's usually crawling with people, and actually there's still quite a few people, but it's usually crawling with people. And I'm here at the ungodly hour of 7:30 in the morning, and I have taken my coffee with me, which I'm going to be sipping because it is very, very early. People are looking at me. Anyway, some espresso. You can see there's somebody sleeping behind me. I don't know if they've been here all night, but that's possible. I want to talk about the first book. I'm in the middle of a bunch of books. Books I started on the plane, books I started back at home, and I've already finished a book that I had bought at the Red Wheelbarrow a few days ago. I squealed when I saw this on this shelf. You've already seen that I went to the Red Wheelbarrow. It's an English language bookstore run by the sellers there were American. It's all English language books, and the English language books are UK edition. And this book, I just love the cover, and I love Eve Chase. I've read her other books, which have different titles in the US. This one is called The Birdcage, and I knew I was going to buy it as soon as I saw it. I wasn't going to buy anything as usual. I always tell myself when I go into a bookstore, you're not going to buy anything. You're just looking. You just think of your luggage. I've bought like 7 books, and this is the biggest book that I've bought, but I knew I had to get it because the cover is just so beautiful. The US doesn't have this cover. I've already finished it because it was wonderful. Eve Chase is one of those authors that I absolutely adore. Anything she puts out, I will buy. I will read. I talked about how Kate Morton is one of my absolute favorite authors, and Eve Chase is the one who I think comes closest to Kate Morton in terms of style of writing. The Birdcage, while it has 2 alternate timelines, it's the 2019 timeline, and then a mid-1990, 1996 timeline. So it has 2 alternating timelines, past and present. It's mostly from the point of view of Lauren. She's one of 3 sisters, different mothers, all the same father. The father is Charlie, who is this once famous, very talented artist. And he has summoned all 3 of the sisters back home. They're now in their 30s. And he's kind of had some wild oats, and he's kind of still a little bit wild artist. And so all his daughters are by different mothers. Flora is the beautiful one, the perfect one. Kat is the sharp, go-getter, very ambitious, driven sister. And Lauren is the one that's the youngest, and she is a little bit, take a sip here. She's a little bit lost. She's been really traumatized by something traumatic that happened last time they were all together, which was in 1996. If you have sisters, you know that having sisters is kind of a complex thing, that it's kind of love, hate, their sibling rivalry. One of the things I liked about the book was that each of the sisters, they think that, you know, they're being despised, have these judgments about each other, but really when you look at each sister's point of view of the others, it's completely different. Each sister has secrets. They have a different view of each other than what each person thinks that the others think of them. A faithful depiction of sister affection, sister rivalry, and sisterly fights. All summoned home by the father. Slowly, you get to realize that something really, really horrible happened when they were younger, as teenagers, one summer. And this is the first time they've all been back together, and it was so traumatizing that it kind of affected their lives, especially Lauren's life. It's set in Cornwall, and this by the sea. It's the family estate, and Charlie has these, you know, big surprises that he announces when they come home. So I was kind of iffy about the story. I mean, I was really excited, but then it's like, it's one of those things where, okay, you're omitting information. The author's omitting information, and I want to know what's happening. What happened? I figured out one of the twists, and I thought I was so smart about it. However, the last, I would say, half to quarter of the book, you need to fasten your seatbelt. It is one twist after another. I'm not kidding. It is just like it's not even every chapter. It's like every few pages. It's like, what? Oh, I didn't see that coming. My heart beating. It left me breathless because it was so expertly done, so wonderfully done. There's just like twists there's so many twists, and there's like a early morning, like street washing going on. So I hope you can hear me. If not, maybe I'll dub it. I thought it was going to be quiet today, or quiet this early in the morning. It's a Saturday morning. However, I wanted to get here really early to avoid people. I avoided most of the people. It's usually crawling with people, but I forgot that, because there are, not that many people. That's when the workers start cleaning up. But by the way, I'm having a wonderful time in Paris. I love it. This is not my first time, but it's the best time. Each time I'm here, it's the best time. And this is actually the most touristy thing I've done, is come here to the Eiffel Tower. I usually avoid this, but it's what better setting to do my review. It's just magical. It's always magical, and the fact that this trip is, I'm visiting so many bookstores. Usually I only have time for one or two, but I have the leisure, and I picked up my beautiful edition of the Birdcage. And so back to the books. I highly recommend the Birdcage. It is just completely riveting. I could not wait to get home. I actually took in my backpack, and it's like when you're kind of walking around all day, in vacationing, you don't want to carry too much stuff, because you have your water, you have your snacks, you have your camera, you have all this. You don't want to be carrying a hardcover, but I carried this around for a few days because every chance I got, I went to a cafe, I would devour this along with my coffee. I read it at night. So it's just I in between some my vacation activities, I devoured the Birdcage. It's suspenseful. The last halfway through the book, it is one after the other. Eve Chase does this wonderful job. You are in the hands of a master. like all her other books, Black Rabbit Hall, and The Vanishing of Audrey Wilde, and The Glass House has a different title in the U.S. The Glass House, I think, is I'll put it up. The title escapes me, but it is a different title in the U.S. If you are unfamiliar with Eve Chase, start reading her books. Black Rabbit Hall is the one that most reminds me of Kate Morton, but Eve Chase stands in her own right. She's fantastic, a wonderful writer, and she has all of these blurbs. Like Lisa Jewell gave her a blurb, glorious. I loved every word of it, Lisa Jewell, and all these other blurbs in the back. And another thing too, besides the twists and the suspense and the writing, I love the setting of Cornwall. That's another thing that reminds me of Kate Morton. Kate Morton has, I think, at least one or two books set in Cornwall, and Cornwall is just this wild kind of, place setting by the sea that's just so different, and I love books that are set in Cornwall. So this one is set in Cornwall. I love the old house that they're in that's just kind of full of just oddities in this eccentric house, and there's this, the birdcage refers to an actual cage. There is a cage, and there is a bird, Big Bertha, but the birdcage also refers to, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for what happened in the past, the trauma of the past, the traumatic event of the past has kept them all in a birdcage, every single one of them. The Lauren, the sensitive one, Kat, the confident, smart one, Flora, the beautiful one, and even Charlie. They all reacted to the event that shocking, horrible event of the past, and it's kind of kept them in a prison, in a way, imprisoned. And so going back to the house in Cornwall, that's where they confront the past, they confront each other, and you'll have to see what happens next. Highly recommend it. That's it for that review. I'll probably have more reviews here in Paris because I'm like tearing through a few books. So we'll see where my next one's gonna be. I'm gonna end this video here. So I hope you find a good book. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, happy reading. Bye. Au revoir from Paris.